Colin, talk to me.
Hi everyone, Colin here, Guild Wars 3 Game Director. I want to welcome you to
Guild
our
Wars
first look
3
behind the
game
scenes on
director.
Guild Wars 3. We want to
Wow.
invite you into
Wow.
the
He's always just been studio director. I mean, I think he's maybe also the director for the whole studio, but specifically now he's Guild Wars 3 game director. Oh, we know who you are. It's fine. Ah, so good. So good. Colin, so happy he's back.
welcome you to our first look behind the scenes on Guild Wars 3. We want to invite you into the studio with the team at ArenaNet to share with you how and why we make decisions about Guild Wars 3 and some of the exciting details about the game. This is the first in a series of videos, blogs, and announcements we'll be sharing, and we hope that as you join us, you'll agree Guild Wars 3 is shaping up to be an entirely new and special MMO for series veterans and newcomers to the Guild Wars franchise alike.
Yay.
Let's start at the beginning. Why set Guild Wars 3 in Orth? For newcomers to Guild Wars, it's a fresh start. Both existing games happen after, so it's a clean slate for everyone. And for our existing Guild Wars community, this is an era central to the Guild Wars universe. The lands of Or have waters that run deep across the franchise, from the Char invasion and the Vizier's connection to Or in Guild Wars Reforged, to the sunken ruins of the once great nation raised from the ocean floor by the Elder Dragon Zaitan in Guild Wars 2. Or is where the gods lived and left. So many mysteries, untold stories, and questions across 21 years of games all arise from Or. We know for our existing Guild Wars fans, the opportunity to explore these formative years, to speculate and theory craft together, to unravel the mysteries long hidden in Tyria's past will be incredibly compelling. But
Is
it's
this new
not
music?
just a
I
chance
just
to
realized.
experience some of the big stories lost to history. It's also the opportunity to unveil countless stories we haven't teased before, characters you've never met that bring the golden age of Or to our timeline and to life. To our new community members, welcome to Tyria! We're expanding our reach with Guild Wars 3 and inviting a brand new generation of gamers to join us for this launch, our first in more than a decade. Players on PlayStation 5, on Steam, and
That's so
around the
cool.
world will be able to join those playing on their ArenaNet accounts from the very beginning, setting this up to be by far the largest day one launch in Guild Wars franchise history.
Whee!
You will all share the same world together. And as this timeline is one that's new
Wow.
for everyone, you don't need to have played any Guild Wars game to jump right into Guild Wars 3 and be on equal footing. Of course, if you are a new player and would like to start exploring the Guild Wars universe today, there's no better time than right now. We highly recommend you check out Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 1. We're doubling down on our mission to support all of our Guild Wars games into the future. Guild Wars 2 will continue to grow and expand with new content, storylines, characters, and locations to come beyond the release of Guild Wars 3. We are
Yay!
intentionally leaving Guild Wars 2 room to breathe, free from the traditional constraints of a sequel that would follow it. We look forward to telling stories
Wow.
in Tyria far into the future and across several timelines with its epic lore.
Bobby! Ah!
Hi everyone, I'm Bobby Stein,
Bobby!
Studio Narrative Director here at ArenaNet. This timeline is incredibly exciting for all of us on the narrative team. In the past, we've told a lot of stories where the stakes kept escalating, centered around globe-spanning, world-ending threats. Those stories have been an important part of Guild Wars, but as we started thinking about the future of the franchise, we found ourselves more interested in curating a different kind of experience. Instead of focusing on a planet embroiled in war, we wanted to show conflicts between guilds and other forces operating in this territory. Guild Wars 3 begins from a much more grounded place, during a time of rapid change, where magic is a powerful commodity.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a story about Or, the people who call it home, and about the Veil Wardens, a guild struggling to reclaim their prominence in a land that's changing. Instead of fighting distant threats or abstract villains, we want to make sure the things you do have an immediate impact on the people who matter. Guild Wars 3 takes place over 1,000 years before the events of Guild Wars Reforged. Or is entering its golden age, when the human gods entrust guilds to cultivate the land and protect its inhabitants from wild beasts and competing interests. It's a time of rising tensions, when magic is unobtainable by most, entrusted only to guilds that the High Council and the human gods choose. It's coveted by those who would misuse it, sometimes falling into the wrong hands and leading to disastrous outcomes. Above the dense forests and the wild plains, the shining city of Aurora floats majestically against the clouds, visible from every direction. It's a source of comfort to some and a threat to those who have fallen from divine favor. Under the city's
Ooh.
shadow, farmers tend land and livestock to sustain a growing population. But rising tensions and unexpected hardships have everyone seeking help. Most turn to the Order of the Veil, the oldest guild on Or, to aid them in their time of need. However, recent events have caused the Veil Wardens to lapse in their duties. Not out of dereliction, but from exhaustion. There's simply too much land to cover and too few hands to pitch in. We're building a version of Or that's more layered and more detailed, more interconnected than anything we've done before. It's a world that we can continue to build on and evolve in meaningful ways as the game grows, breathing new life into familiar spaces and characters and giving you more reasons to return. We can't wait to tell you more about Guild Wars 3, but you'll have to wait for future reveals to learn more about the lore, characters, gameplay, and systems we've been cooking up. Until then, may the Six watch over you.
Oh, may the Six watch over you. I love that. I love that. Well, he said that the magic is, God, the music is so good. He said the magic, like the gods choose who uses the magic. And they tend to give it out to like the guilds. Well, we are in a guild. So that's what I heard is that we have the magic. We will get magic because we're a guild that they have given magic to. So someone said like, so no elementalist class? Like no, I don't think that's going to be the case. Oh, Evil Twin Link, what's up? Oh my god. Oh, where was that? Oh my god, that one piece of concept art. Holy heck. With like ores. Most of this was concept art we've seen from Guild Wars 1 and 2. There were a couple new pieces in here. Oh, this one. This one. Bobby. Oh, look at that. Didn't he say it was floating though? Didn't he say ore was like floating, ominous, or comforting in the sky? Is that not like, or maybe that's something besides the like the city? Oh, a Ra is floating. Okay. Let's start here. A Ra is floating. So a Ra is like the city of the gods. Oh, this is from Heart of Thorns. Oh. It just looks like a broken ring of ore, doesn't it? Oh, that actually is Tarir. This is from Heart of Thorns. Wow, I do not remember this. Okay. This is the ley line after Scarlet pierced Lion's Arch, and it's going to... Okay. If it's only 2 feet off the ground. Well, it's, they said that it's, was visible from everywhere. Because I thought it was this. It looked very much like this that we've seen in the concept art. What is this tower? Since it's available on Steam, this might become your first Guild Wars experience. Prezi! That'd be so exciting! It does look Dwayna-ish, doesn't it? Hi, Miss Michelle! The Purdy Guild is very responsible with magic. That's right. That's right. Maybe the Veil Wardens turn into the Wizard Court. Wizard Court doesn't... When did Isgarin make the Wizard's Court? Yeah, they said that like our player character is part of the Veil Warden, which is a guild one of the oldest guilds in Ore. And even though we're losing like influence, yeah, we would have been given magic by the gods. Oh my god, the gods are like still here. That is so exciting. That is so exciting. Prezi, definitely. What is that flying in the top corner? This thing that's flying? It looks like a giant salamander. See, that's different from our mount, but it still has like the glowy tail and feet. So it looks like didn't they call these like spirits? Our mount is called a seeker, but these are like veil something. They're veil spirits. Colin said the Veil Warden are burnt out mood, honestly. Well, I don't know, Prezi. We don't know what the playable races are going to be. Obviously, human. And we see Asura and Kodan. That doesn't 100% mean those are playable races, but probably I would like 90% those are going to be playable races. And I hope there's more. But you think the guy on the mount is a dwarf? Oh, yeah, a lot of people have said dwarves, which is very possible. That would be cool. Yeah, so this is going to be one of the like spirits of the wild. I don't know. Wiki says the Wizard Court started during the previous Dragon Rise. Oh, wow. Wow. Is Waiting Sorrow really like 10,000 years old? I never put that together. The guy just has short legs. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say the bear like become the Norn. I don't know. Yeah, dwarves are possible. I love that Eternal. They're focusing on smaller scale conflicts in Guild Wars 3. I've seen criticism that because Guild Wars 3 is in the past, there's no tension or risk of the world ending because we're still here. Well, I understand that. I understand them saying that. But, like, I'm sorry, there's no risk of the world ending in Guild Wars 2, like, because then you wouldn't have a game. So that's why if you want, like, those emotional stakes, for the narrative, that's why I think it's a good thing to focus on characters because obviously the world isn't going to end because then there'd be no game. But characters, locations that we love can fall without the game ending, right? So if you're focusing on more intimate personal stories, getting closer to characters, and with the fear that those characters could die or those locations, Lion's Arch, could be destroyed or, what we know or is, gonna fall. But, seeing the events that led up to that and how it happened directly, like those are the stories we haven't seen and haven't been told. So I understand people saying that, but at the same time I think that's not very valid because you can't have it end. You want a world to end. What do you think this is? Final Fantasy 14 1.0, right? Yes, Final Fantasy 14 would like to have a chat with you exactly. So yeah. I get that, but I think that's, you know, so much tension. I think because of that, I think there's more tension in character focused stories because of that, because there's a much bigger chance that you could lose someone, which is why I often say, like, I complain when no one dies or no one we care about, when no character we care about, something bad doesn't happen to anybody. Everybody's fine. Everybody's just as fine at the end of the expansion as they were at the start of the expansion. I think that's boring Because then if no one's ever Final Fantasy 14 is starting to get that way, Guild Wars 2 is starting to get that way. We're like, no, everybody's fine, nobody dies, even if big thing happens to person. Oh, no, don't worry, they're fine 5 minutes later. And that's not compelling to me. I'm sorry. Like there's no fear. Like, oh, don't worry, they're not gonna ever kill anybody. Both games used to be way better with that. They used to be way better at killing their characters. I don't know why in like once a game hits like 10 years, they just suddenly won't kill any character. I understand that, characters are marketable. I understand that. But like it doesn't put any stakes into your story, or like the only people who die are like characters who were just introduced. This is how we lose Timey. Then let's lose Timey. Like, that has been threatened for 10 years. She's literally, when we met her, she said, I'm dying. It's 10 years later and now she's fine. Like, and I mean, and yet, like, and I understand she got the technology to like walk or whatever, but like, I don't know. Like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating narratively. When you don't fear. It's the same, it becomes the same thing as, well, we know that we're gonna save the world, we know the world's gonna be fine, the world's not gonna end, because there would be no game if there was. So there's not tension on that level ever, really, because things are gonna work out. I don't want that same feeling on a character level. Oh, it's fine. When if a character's doing something super heroic, they run into the fire, they'll be fine. No, I want to be like, no, Canuck. Oh my God. I want to fear for my characters. I want to have that emotional response because I want the narrative to give me that fear. And unfortunately, that fear can only be there if main characters die. I don't want main characters to die, but I want that emotional impact from the narrative. And you can't get that if no one ever dies, if everyone's always fine. You don't get that, So that's why I want like these big, narrative risks. And then if you're, it's honestly, it's a way to cycle characters out, because there's, it also 10 years into a story, it gets very bloated with characters. You can only focus on some of them, so many of them at once. Yes, you can say, they're off doing stuff, but like, I'm never going like, oh man, I wish we could hang out with Traherne. Like, I wish we could hang out with Air. This, what are they doing? Like I'm sitting here right now. I want to hang out with Timey and Casimir and Jory and Bram and Rox and, like this Goric and these just giant list of characters who are just off doing something else.
This helps.
I'm never sitting here. I'm never sitting here, man, I wish we could hang out with Gwen. No, she's dead. So, like, and that's why I will forever be mad that Bram didn't die in the Icebrute Saga. That's why I will forever be mad, because it was a perfect opportunity to say, hey, we will kill main characters. Maybe not the most beloved main characters, but that would have been a main character death, a major character death, and it would have been perfect. And it would have said, guess what? You need to be scared for your favies, because they might die. And because they didn't, I'm like, oh, I guess nobody's ever going to die ever again, and I have no reason to emotionally connect to any of these characters, because they'll be fine. And I don't like that. I don't want that to be the case. I don't want people to die, but I don't want to not care or not be emotionally invested, because it's okay. Everyone, when Timey, thank you so much, Box. Thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate you. Grab that postcard. Thank you for the 1 year. So when we started fearing for Timey again, because Timey's disease was getting worse, and she kept saying, oh, I don't have much time left. By the way, I've been keeping this from you guys, but my disease is getting worse and I don't have much time left. And then she was just kind of in the background, got cured. Didn't want Timey to die. I love Timey. But like when she was just cured in the background, I was like, oh. So it makes me feel silly for getting emotionally invested in a character because nothing bad ever happens to them. And they don't necessarily have to die. But like, you know, something Zoja and Logan in Heart of Thorns, they didn't die, but they were out. They got wrecked. Right? Those characters were not the same. The Mama Tree is still recovering from Heart of Thorns. Mordremoth fucked people up, and we felt it, right? And killed major characters, right? So like Heart of Thorns was beautiful in that it made us fear for our favorite characters because some of them, yeah, just died, making heroic sacrifices, right? Which is the best way for a main character to die. Bram should have died. But then you also had characters getting screwed up for a long time. And they're still not the same, right? So, like, that was like, you know, I could fear for my characters dying or fear for characters getting, you know, like just hurt beyond they will never, you know, hurt to the point they will never be the same. And that just like, and I don't have that fear anymore because everyone's just fine. That would have been such an interesting story, Feus, if June had withheld the tech from Taimi that could have helped her. Oh man, that would have been such a compelling story, but they had to tell the bigger story of the dragons. So now, if they're focusing, they have the opportunity to tell more intimate stories like this. They have the opportunity to get into those nitty-gritty details of emotion and people and politics and stuff that can be very compelling. Not, you know, okay, we kind of have to gloss over this because there's a, you know, there's a dragon attacking. So I'm very excited for the more intimate stories. Exactly, Meg. They were building and building it literally ever since we met Taimi. They were building and building and building and building and building on her demise. Like she's on limited time, right? And now she's fine. But if there would and she can be fine now, we can cure her, sure. But like it should have been more mainline story. It was very background. Oh, by the way, Taimi got new legs. You know, like what? I love that freaking Blish. Blish. We knew Blish for like 2 minutes and he was such a compelling character. We never even met Blish. We only met his brain inside a golem. And his death was like so emotional, even though we knew him, he was a side character we knew for 2 minutes, but his story was so compelling. He had people who loved him, right? And then he heroically sacrificed himself. And like people are still talking about Blish because it was really, really good. It was so well written. Blish was so well written. And we're still sobbing over Blish, right? He was a golem for the entire thing. We never even met OG Blish. Exactly. It was amazing storytelling. It was so good. And we barely knew him. So, like, these characters who are so fleshed out to just be like background healed is perplexing and it's sad. So expansion based on the mists. Ooh. I know. That's what's cool is like it's so wild to think that we're going to have Guild Wars 3 and Guild Wars 2 is like still going to get expansions. Like and Guild Wars 1's going to get stuff. Like all 3 games, I'm not going to have enough brain power for all this Guild Wars. It's so much. So much Guild Wars. Ambrosia, thank you so much for the bits. Thank you for the hype train, y'all. It introduced the idea that you could put someone's consciousness into a golem, which would seem to be the logical way to save Taimi, right? I thought that's where they were going to go with it. Exactly. Maybe visiting spirits in the mist that the mists spill out into Tyria, getting to revisit characters that passed. Well, in Guild Wars 1, we actually got to go to the underworld and see characters that had passed. And in Guild Wars 2, we have seen characters that have passed. They have come actually out of the mists and into Tyria. I mean, you can just go to Dragonfall and just visit Gwen's ghost now. So, you know, that's a thing. Still calling it Guild Wars 1. I will always call it Guild Wars 1. I know they've like officially rebranded to Reforge. And granted, it was never Guild Wars 1. It's just Guild Wars, right? Which is kind of nice that you have Guild Wars Reforged now to call it officially rather than just Guild Wars. Like, it's like Tyria and Tyria. Are you talking about the continent or the planet? It's like Guild Wars. Are you talking about the first game or are you talking about the franchise? Right? So it was actually extraordinarily smart to rebrand it as Reforged because you didn't want to just call it like Guild Wars 1, right? It's kind of like how Prophecies was kind of retroactively called Prophecies, right? Like the box doesn't say Guild Wars Prophecies, it just says Guild Wars because that's what it launched as, is just Guild Wars, the first campaign, right? So very smart. The rebrand was so genius. Did Bram's mother die? Heir? Yes. Yes. Oh, the Asura character personal story. They placed mines in a golem. Oh. It wasn't Prophecies until Factions came out, right? Which was like 6 months after Prophecies. So great. Like, Guild War Prophecies, Factions, and Nightfall came out in like a year. Insane. Right, Rabbit, yeah. Rorik Jenkins. Oh my gosh. Factions was 1 year. Nightfall only. Oh, is the one that only took 6 months. Okay. I knew it was like a quick turnaround. Factions came out 1 day before the Guild Wars 1 first anniversary. Okay. I knew it was like real quick. And then the next year, 2007 was Eye of the North expansion. Wow. It's still crazy fast. So fast. It was insane. You started with Nightfall? I first experienced Guild Wars at the Factions beta weekend and didn't like it. I was overwhelmed because they threw you into like level 20 endgame with all the skills unlocked, and I was like, what is happening? I don't even remember playing the game. I just remember standing in Kaineg City like, what? This is too much. It was too overwhelming. And then I actually played on a friend's account because I wanted to start from the beginning. Because I kept seeing, even after I tried it, I kept seeing my friends playing it. And like physically, like at their house. And I kept seeing them play it. And I was like, that game looks so cool. And so I made an account for the Factions beta. Didn't like it. And I was like, oh, I guess it's not for me. It's too overwhelming. But I kept seeing them play it because they'd been playing it for a while. For a year. And I was just like, it just looks so cool. But I didn't have the money at the time to buy it for myself. And so my friend actually let me use his account to make a new character and start from the beginning. And that's where I fell in love with it. I started with Prophecies from the beginning, fell in love with the game. And then that Christmas is when I got all 3. Nightfall had come out. And so then I got all 3. I asked for all 3 campaigns for Christmas, got all 3, made Aurora, Astralis, made my first character, and then played through all 3 with my boyfriend at the time. And that was it. Just we no-lifed it. Like I've been in love ever since. So Joko. Joko, the never did anything wrong in his life. Oh, geez. Bye, Ren. Hope everything works out. You're okay, okay. Yeah, the reason people say to start with Nightfall is because you get heroes. Because in the first two campaigns, you just have henchmen, which are will adventure with you if you're playing like solo or you need to fill out your team. But henchmen aren't customizable. Heroes are fully customizable and thus much stronger than henchmen. And Nightfall gives you like tons of them. Because the hero system got introduced in Nightfall. So that's why a lot of people do start with Nightfall, just because of the heroes. I'd always recommend playing it in order, though. But you can play it in whatever order you want. Same with Guild Wars 2. You can jump around. I watched Wing play. When Wing played all the campaigns, she jumped from every campaign. I don't even know what order she played it in. She played it in every order. She was jumping all around. Then she's like, who's this character? Who's this character? Who's this character? I'm like, you didn't play it in order. That's why you don't know who these people are or what's going on. Nightfall is a great story. Yes. I don't remember how or why I started playing Guild Wars, but apparently I like it. Joko did some things wrong. Oh my gosh, Arland! Hi, Arland! I am so hyped. Oh my god, is it really 2:30 already? Oh my god. Okay, listen, I've been wanting to watch this for days. It's only 10 minutes long, so I'm gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it together. This is an IGN interview that Colin did like 3 days ago. I've been wanting to watch it, and I just have not, between freaking Kingdom Hearts trailers and stuff, I have not been able to watch it, and I really want to, even though I do know the big points in it, but I really want to watch it. So get your popcorn out. Hey, Congo. Theora, you blame your Guild Wars playing on Theora. Entirely her fault. Thank her for me. Thank you all for the follows. Appreciate it. Welcome. Anytime there's Guild Wars news, we check it out. But we stream Guild Wars 2 the game every Tuesday. Every Tuesday. So, but we are always talking about it. Oh my gosh. All right, let's watch this.
It has been a long time coming, but we now know
this
that
was right
it's
after
really
SGF.
Real. Guild Wars 3 was just revealed, the next MMORPG from ArenaNet, and here to talk with us as much as we can about it is studio head Colin Johansson. How you doing, sir?
I'm great, thank you. It has been an incredible last couple of days.
Yeah, make some noise! Guild Wars 3!
His Guild Wars 3 shirt.
So, to kick things off, just can you give us a top-level overview? What are some of the big new ideas driving Guild Wars 3?
Yeah, you know, we've announced that we're going to go into beta at the end of next year, and so we've got a lot of time between now and then that we're going to reveal most of the big ideas
on the
behind
show
the
floor
game and kind of work our way through that. The two things so far that we've set out as core pillars for the game that we've announced, one of them is joy of movement. I think one of the things that the Guild Wars franchise is known for, coming out of Guild Wars 2 in particular, is offering this really spectacular form of movement in an MMO experience. And we're really trying to push that even further with Guild Wars 3 and asking the question, can we take some of the elements that you would traditionally find in action games and bring those into multiplayer MMO experiences to create incredible new forms of joy of movement? And a lot of that is powered by momentum, which is a thing you don't see in MMOs. And so a lot of the movement in Guild Wars 3, your momentum transfers between all of the different things you do, which allows you to really express joy of movement in a unique way in an MMO.
That sounds
and then
really
the other
fun.
one that we've talked just a tiny bit about, and I'm going to leave it at that today, is our combat system. And I think that MMOs often are viewed as very specific types of combat, and we really wanted to look at, especially with this game now coming to both console for the first time, and trying to create a new era of MMOs.
Hi, Fran.
We really wanted to ask, how could we take some of the elements that you would find in action multiplayer combat games, or even just action RPGs, and bring those into the MMO space and extend them.
So cool.
And so our combat system is really something very unique that extends out on some of those ideas as well. That's as much as I'm going to say right now.
A little bit of a tease. So we got the trailer kind of looping here. Can you walk us through what we're seeing in the trailer and what were some of the things that you wanted to convey with this trailer?
Yeah, so one of the big things that you'll see there is we're depicting the land of Or, which is an incredible historical place in the history of Guild Wars. The very first Guild Wars took place there. The
Hey,
gods
Gix.
that originated in our world.
Arcana
We
Loft,
told
great
many
to see
stories in our
ya.
lore about them existing in Or and then disappearing and leaving the world. And we're setting this game 1,200 years before Guild Wars 1, just before the first Guild War breaks out, just after one of the gods has been deposed. And we see this as a really incredible opportunity to go back to a place in our world that there isn't a lot of written history about, but what there is incredibly interesting. And there are a huge amount of the mysteries and the stories behind the entire concept of Guild Wars all originate from this timeline. The other reason that we picked it is we think all of those reasons are awesome for our existing fans and a reason for them to engage. But we're inviting an entire new audience to join this game and to join the Guild Wars franchise for the first time. We're inviting players on PlayStation to come join us and play, and console gamers
Yes,
have
after
never
the
been able
fall
to
of
play
Doom.
a Guild Wars game before. We didn't ship Guild Wars 2 on Steam until 10 years after launch. We're going to ship Guild Wars 3 on Steam on day one when we launch this time. And we really
Yes.
wanted to send a message out to everyone that this is a game for everyone to come play Guild Wars right now. And you don't have to have played 20 years of this franchise to understand what's going on in Guild Wars 3. Everybody is coming in on relative equal footing. There is just a small amount of recorded history about this timeline, and so all of our new players and all of our existing fans all get to discover the lore and the timeline and the
That's
stories all
really
together.
smart.
And because there's very little that's
I love
actually
the
recorded,
logo.
even though it is set 1,000 plus years in the past, there's an incredible amount of stuff for people to discover and find out and mysteries to unravel that we think is going to be compelling for everybody. And so you're seeing some little pieces here of Or and some of the spirits that live in Or, the gods that live in Or, and those are just some little teases for more stories to come later.
All right. So
He's such a good
you guys
speaker.
are announcing an open beta in 2027. I know that's a long ways off, but are there any details you can share about your approach to the gameplay this time around?
Exactly,
In
Faye.
anticipation for that open beta.
I appreciate that. I think I'll take that a little more high level and say one of the
I-
really
I-
unique things about ArenaNet is we have a very unique approach
I missed
to
what
making
he
Details
asked
you
exactly.
can share about your approach to the gameplay this time around in anticipation for that open beta.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I think I'll take that a little more high level and say one of the really unique things about ArenaNet is we have a very unique approach to making new games. And at most studios, when they start making a new game, they think about what is the gameplay that we want to have, what's the story we want to tell, what technology or cool feature do we want to base this game on, and especially in the case when you're making like part 2 or part 3 of a series, oftentimes the question is, what are all the things we're going to carry forward, and then the new feature we'll add to make it cool. And ArenaNet has never viewed making games that way. We start with player problems, and we make MMORPGs, so we start by asking, what are all the player problems and frustrations in the genre at this time? And back when we were making
That's
Guild
how
Wars
they
1,
innovate.
one of the big ones was that every online game had a subscription fee. So we set out to make a game that would have no subscription fees, that anyone could play as much or as little as they want, and they could always play with their friends. When we set out to make Guild Wars 2, we wanted to make a giant open world MMO, the scale of all these other games that were out at the time, and solve for the problems that existed in those types of games. And so we made a world where players don't get put in conflict with one another, where it's easy to play with other players, and other players actually make the game more fun. And starting with those player problems as our
They
core
did it.
means every one of our games is very, very different. They take place in Tyria, they
Ah,
draw from the same
I love them so
core
much.
lore, but they're on different timelines and they're very different game experiences because they solve for different problems in the era of game that we're making it in. And we feel like right now, the genre that we make our game in the MMO genre, and we've consistently heard this from all of you too, that you feel like this genre is ready for something new, that it is stagnated, that we've all been playing the same games for the most part for over a decade. And I think this is when ArenaNet's at its best, when we challenge ourselves and say, let's go solve for the problems and innovate. And it's risky, it's a challenging thing to do. We could trip and fall flat on our face by trying to invent new ideas and then wrap our game around those. But I don't think game genres move forward unless people are willing to do that. And so we are going to fearlessly charge forward and try a bunch of new ideas. And we really hope people love them, and we're going to find out over the next couple of years.
I fully agree. Now I want to go back to that the 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 no subscription model point. But first, we actually have some exclusive artwork that came through. If we can pull that up, and if you can just kind of walk us through what's happening here.
I can. So first off, kudos to Kekai, one of our incredible concept artists who made this piece early on in development. And this is really an inspiration piece going
Who's
back
been
to
with the company
what are
forever.
we trying to do with combat in this game. And I mentioned earlier one of our goals is to take elements you would traditionally find more in action games and to try to figure out which of those can make their way into an MMO experience. We started from the very beginning having this game be playable both on a controller and mouse and keyboard, and challenged ourselves, can we make a combat system that feels awesome on both? Which is generally not the case for MMOs. They tend to start as mouse and keyboard and then get ported to a controller later. And a lot of the great inspirations that we could find are single player RPGs or multiplayer RPGs, but not MMOs so much in that space. And so this concept art piece really is aspirational for us. So this is the type of experience we want to chase after. Can we make more action combat in a way that you wouldn't have seen in an MMO before?
So going back to that subscription model, the first Guild Wars was notable for being, one of the only, if not the only, MMOs out there that didn't require a subscription. You're continuing that with Guild Wars 3, and I wonder, how does that influence how you build and design the game?
It's a great question. I think you have to think about questions like that fundamentally from the very beginning as you construct your game. And I think we have a very long history at ArenaNet. Again, when you start with solving for player problems and making games for players first, it forces us to ask a lot of these questions. How do we make a game that players can play as much or as little as they want? I think there's a lot of challenges with the MMO space right now where there's a perception for players, and I'm sure many of you have felt this, of like, hey, somebody tries to tell you to go play this next great MMO, and your first reaction is, I don't have time for that. It's like a second job, and you have to basically give up a chunk of your life to engage with many MMOs. And I think that perception and solving for that perception is something that we've always wanted to continue to solve for at ArenaNet. We started it with no subscription fees. Our concept of horizontal progression, where you can play our game for a while, take a break, go play other games, that's okay. We don't have anything that's holding you hostage to keep playing, and then come back when you see something cool you want to play again. All of that inspiration and concept is being applied to Guild Wars 3 as well. And I think, I will note, I think there's become a modern version of the subscription that we've seen evolve over the last few years, and even longer than that, in battle passes and paid battle passes, where it's basically a subscription kind of hidden and wrapped with other stuff around it. And I think we've challenged ourselves to ask the same question. Can we make a game like this that doesn't have a subscription fee and doesn't have a battle pass fee buried in it as well? Because we think players are sick of those two. And so this will be a game you can buy it, you can play it as much or as little as you want. We will respect our players' time, and if they love it, we'll have other stuff that they can buy from us in the future, but we're not going to hold their time hostage, and we want them to be able to go play other games. And hopefully, I would highly recommend they should go check out Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 1. We just announced this weekend that we're going to keep supporting those far into the future as well.
Well, there you go. Love to hear that. I have so many questions, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have. So thank you so much to Colin for joining us here at IGN Live to talk all about Guild Wars 3. You can wish list it now for Steam, PlayStation 5, and register at guildwars3.com.
What a great idea.
As soon as the beta begins.
That was a really good interview. Oh, Colin is such a good speaker. Like he hits all the points, and man, that is so awesome. Like and he's right. That's like what ArenaNet has always been about, and putting players first and solving for the problems. Like, and they're here 21 plus years later, right? He aced that interview, man. Oh my God. Yep. No battle pass. Cause he's right. Like, as a battle pass, again, he said they're all about respecting players' time. And that is a big pain point of MMOs, is people saying, well, I don't have time to play that because MMOs suck a lot of time, right? And a battle pass is like, it's usually a timed thing, isn't it? Like, for this amount of time, you get these rewards if you pay more, which puts you on a time crunch, right? So yeah, it makes sense to not have a battle pass and not have. He didn't say anything about not having gacha and loot boxes, but but the battle pass, any time-based monetization is what they're not about, which is incredible. Pseudo subscription, yes.